we started out talking about legacy hiring because in the past, a lot of real estate companies were family owned and they hired family members or they hired internally. But we determined after a while that the real issue is more about getting young people interested in the field, helping them develop the talents and capabilities to do the best job, to position themselves to be good professionals in the business, but at the same time, figuring out how to connect them to the industry leaders to help those companies find that talent. So, David, would you like to pick it up from there?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Stan, for coming up with this great idea to kind of discuss what we're both seeing out in the world right now in terms of hiring. As you mentioned, we had initially kind of focused our discussion related to legacy hiring, which I think both of us have observed, seems to be less prevalent than it was, maybe even 10 years ago, certainly, going back 20 years ago. But I think what we were both noticing is just the lack of younger, talent coming out of school, within those few years after school, going into the commercial real estate industry in general, and then the difficulties of those who maybe are interested in, in making a career in commercial real estate, linking them up with industry leaders who might, be able to help guide and mentor them, as they build a career path. So, I think an important area of discussion, is related to how do we, provide those opportunities. I guess even stepping back before that, how do we, make sure that people who are in school and thinking about their career, even have commercial real estate on their radar, because I think that's something that we've noticed that even just getting a stream of potentially interested individuals into our field has become more and more difficult.
Yeah. So one of the thoughts that I had was that can you go back, can you go as far back as high school? We talked a little bit about, once the, students start into college, they all seem to have ideas about where they're going already. And, real estate doesn't seem to be high on their mind of careers. They want to be doctors, lawyers, accountants, or salespeople, and they don't think about real estate as a field. One of the thoughts I had was that you could, could you possibly go and have real estate professionals go to career days? Now, I don't know whether high schools still have career days, but Gina thought that possibly that we could go and give speeches at schools, but I don't think they do that. But it seemed to make sense that if we went in and started talking about possible careers, real estate career at career days in high school, and then maybe offer high school kids summer internships. I mean, why wait till college to do that? I mean, you could, my daughter was, when she was in high school, I mean, she interned for two summers. And you would think that people would want to start young people early on and see if you could get them interested in it. And that way, you could kind of follow them through college and have pretty experienced people with pretty good idea of what the field entails by the time they graduate.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, we have a structural advantage in this field, and insofar as, an individual who's, in high school or college or thinking about their career, I mean, it's a very tangible type of industry. They can go out and see exactly what it is that, that they would be involved in terms of building and development and the way that cities, have evolved, and Atlanta in particular, over the last, several decades, just to be able to go out and help them understand that, they could be a part of shaping, what this area looks like for the next, several decades. And so I agree with you. I think it seems that schools are now providing more career-oriented either classes or seminars or discussions. I think the idea of getting a real estate professional into a school, even if it's just a one-time seminar, I think plants the seed that could later become somebody becoming interested in commercial real estate.
Right. And we also talked about showing students early on in college all the different avenues that they can take in real estate. I mean, there's management, there's leasing, there's sales, there's financing. So, the real estate really offers a broad range of opportunities, both in terms of what people can do and what types of properties, that they can deal in. And, we talked about also that not only should we help them first understand the possibilities and the opportunities, but also help try to educate them not only in the hard skills, which are the analytics and the things that you do on a daily basis, but also the soft skills, which are the networking, the letter writing, the phone calls, how do you meet people, how do you influence people's decisions? Where do you see in the people that you work with, where are weaknesses that we as an industry can help, or we as educators or mentors can help these young people position themselves better?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of soft skills. I think colleges, particularly, there are certain schools that have really very strong real estate programs, and they do a great job of providing the sort of the core background, in terms of what these students will need to be successful. So, if they're design and engineering oriented, there's classes there. If they're more analytically, mathematically oriented, there's, classes there and opportunities to do, some project-based work, in those areas. But I think you're right. I think the challenges, happen when somebody's entering the workforce. They've never, really been in a situation where they've needed to network, go out to, introduce themselves to somebody that they've never met before. If they're starting off in a leasing capacity or a canvassing capacity, the ability to go knock on doors and make a cogent presentation to a prospective tenant or a landlord. I think all of these skills, could be greatly enhanced through some kind of, program where experienced real estate people, can really provide that kind of guidance. I think that's absolutely going to help separate an individual, from their peers, when it comes to landing a job and being successful in an industry.
Right. So, we come at this from a little different perspective because, I don't deal directly, although I know a lot of people in the business, I don't deal directly with employers. I mean, that's who you're dealing with, employers all the time. For me, from the student side, the students and the prospective applicant, they seem they don't really know who to go talk to or how to connect. And so what do I try to help them. But for me, the big thing is networking. It's networking. It's using the computer to look up companies, make lists of companies that you think you might, want to work for, see what they do, find somebody to talk to there. But that sounds easier than it is. So what do you see as the industry, the current professionals can do to what can they do to find these students? How can they be a little more proactive?
Absolutely. We have a few clients that I would say companies that are very strong and proactive when it comes to either providing summer internships or making direct hires out of school. They've got, experience attending career, job fairs that happen on campus. They're comfortable, coming onto the school campus to try to meet with, if there's a real estate society at a given school or a real estate program. Some are certainly, ahead of the curve there, but I would say by and large, there's very little outreach that happens directly from companies to students. Most of our clients, I think, are inclined to want to wait until someone has kind of cut their teeth somewhere else before bringing them on. And I think they lose sometimes the opportunity to really cultivate, talent and build a bench by sort of skipping that step. So, companies, I think that are really focused on the future and building, a good deep team, should consider starting, at the collegiate level, or even as we talked about. I mean, even there are some positions where, maybe, not even a college grad, or maybe somebody who's, ready to work out of high school and has that kind of work ethic, or that sort of outgoing personality that could be great to be a leasing agent or somebody doing investment sales.
Mhm. So, what organizations do you see out there? What professional organizations do you see that can be that that offer students the opportunity to maybe attend events um, where they could start to get involved and meet industry professionals early?
Yeah, I mean, so our niche is a little bit more retail focused than probably some of the other asset types, and so the International Council of Shopping Centers, or otherwise known as ICSC, has made a significant effort in the last, I would say, 5 years, and really even especially since COVID, to provide resources to college students, to provide resources to people entering the industry through discounted admission to conferences. Of course, these days most everything's online, and so that's a relatively easy thing to do. But as events become live again and the network opportunities increase, being able to get access to a recon, a national real estate conference like that for a student can be a game changer for them in terms of finding a great opportunity. I would imagine that organizations like NAOP on the office and industrial side, as well as sort of kind of multidisciplinary groups like a Urban Land Institute, have similar resources. But I think it'd be important to, for a student to check out those resources, go online and find out, what's available to them.
Yeah, I wonder if those organizations have scholarships for students.
I
And
think
if they
some of them
don't,
do. Yeah,
yeah,
for
that,
sure.
that
I
would
know
be,
ICSC does.
yeah, that would be something to develop, to see if we could develop that a little bit. So one of the things that I find with a lot of students is when I look at their resumes are vague as to what they want to do. But the funny thing is, you ask your students, well, what part of real estate do you want to be in? They all want to be developers.
Right.
They all want to be developers. So then I started asking them questions about what they know about development and the resources they have. And maybe 1 out of 100 will be a developer. The rest of them not. So to me, not being able to be specific about what you want to do, and what your skill set is and how that applies to what you want to do, I see that as a problem from the student side, is they have trouble articulating that. Don't go looking for a management job if management is not something you're interested in. Do you see that being a problem in what you do, and how do you work with the applicant, so to speak, to get them more focused so you can match them up better with your clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be really honest with you, that lack of specificity can be a problem even among experienced candidates. These resumes sometimes don't really do a very good job of explaining what someone has done, what they're interested in, what kind of complementary skills they might have to a given job. So I think it's a couple steps. On the student side, it's important to be introspective. Give some thought to what do you like, what are you good at, and then start to think about some things that you've done either in your coursework, in your summer work, that highlight those skills. If you are very mathematically inclined and you're strong with Excel, and you're going to apply for a job as maybe an acquisitions analyst, that matches up very well. And so the ability to describe models or different things you've done with Excel that can highlight those skills is going to be hugely important for you to land a job when you maybe haven't done the specific real estate function. So I think thinking through things that you're good at, and then ways that you can show that using specific examples is going to absolutely make the difference when it comes to a hiring manager looking at your resume.
Right. That's terrific advice. So to wrap this up, from my perspective, I would like to see students get a little more career oriented earlier. Certainly would like to see more proactivity from industry leaders in trying to help these students, both in terms of offering them intern opportunities or at least offering their attending networking events, maybe taking them there to meet other people, and just providing time to give them career advice. Can you add anything to that?
Yeah, I think, to the extent there's an inefficiency between, people who want to get into the industry and companies that want to hire, talent that is up and coming, the only way we're going to bridge that gap is students, getting clearer and stronger about their interests and desires, companies becoming more proactive in terms of going after those students, and then utilizing resources like these trade organizations where possible to help make those connections. And so we're happy to look at resumes. We're happy to provide that kind of advice. So if a student is happening to be watching this video and wants to share their information, I know you've mentored hundreds of students over the years through your classes, and we're trying to do more and more of that. So I think that those are great ways to sort of meet those goals.
Okay, so any final thoughts, or just
no? I mean, I think both of us have built really fulfilling and great careers in this industry. I think it can be one that's going to be timeless and long lasting, and I just hope that we're able to demonstrate to students that this is a place they want to be, and that companies will be able to have the wherewithal to bring them into their organizations.
Good. So my final comment will be to any industry leaders who might be viewing this on our websites or through LinkedIn or whatever. I urge you to get in touch with us if you're looking for how to connect to students, and we urge any students or potential people that are interested in real estate careers to contact us, and we'll either help them ourselves or we'll try to lead them to those people that can. So with that said, I wish you a good day.
Do the same. Take care.